Come on. What is up, everybody? It's Matt Johnson. We are back with another episode of Real Estate Uncensored. This is the place where you get actionable ideas, insight, and inspiration to turn your real estate career into a life of freedom. We are coming to you live from REDEX offices somewhere in the mountains outside of Utah, I think. We're somewhere in another state. We are very unfamiliar. Greg is over here somewhere to my left. Thank God I can't touch him. He's too far away. But we're going to take you on a tour, and we've got Justin Zimmerman back on the show. You may remember him from a couple of episodes he's shared on content and principles of top prospectors is what we're sharing today. We're also going to show you a little bit around the offices here and see what they're up to, because they've got some cool things in store for those of you who enjoy prospecting and actually building your business by actually working with actual clients. How about that, Greg?
I don't want to work with actual clients, Matt. You know this. This is silliness. But no, we're all joking around. You know, we're pumped to be here. REDEX has been super graceful and gracious to us. We've been having some really fun meetings here. Some of the stuff they're coming up with is literally mind-blowing. I can't tell you. They'll kill me. I'm in their office. But it's actually really, really cool. If you want to see where Matt is, he's right there. Wave to everybody, Matt. He's way far away. I can't reach him. But we have a couple of good questions, but I want to first introduce a couple of the guys. So, Mr. Justin, get over here. This is a guest that's been on the show with us. Justin, say hi to everybody.
Hey, you make me look so short.
I'm sorry, what? What are you talking about? Anyways, dude, we're going to be talking around. We're going to be walking around and kind of talking about what you guys are doing here, the culture with what you guys have to do, right?
Yeah, and there's also some things, some of the principles that have helped build REDEX, some of the principles that we've helped see other real estate agents use in their business, the universal success principles that when you apply them, no matter what you're selling, that we use here, and we've seen top prospectors use. Share some of those with you as well today.
It's going to be a lot of fun. So, Matt, we have a question
we do.
that I think we need to throw out to the audience. We can maybe throw it to Justin and then whoever else. We got a live audience watching us as well. About 50 or 60 people of REDEX are here, but they're all camera shy, so we can't put them on camera. They can't protect their offices as we speak.
That's right. We refer to them as normies, as in not the crazies like us who actually like to be on live video 7 to 8 hours a week or whatever it is that you're on live video, Greg.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of live video.
I just found some props. These aren't actually really connected.
No, they're not going to work at all. So, Matt, what's the question we can push over to Justin to start this whole party off?
All right. So this is from our good friend Aaron. So what time do you begin prospecting?
Oh, that's a fantastic question. So prior to getting live with everyone today, we talked about one of the things we do uniquely different here at REDEX, especially on the marketing and content team, is we take an approach where we study and interview hundreds of different top prospectors from across the country throughout all time. We break down what they do and how they do it. And one thing we find, which is part of one of the principles, is timing. The timing that we have here in our company and top prospectors have in theirs is we typically see earlier is better. Between 8 o'clock seems to be the standard starting time. The sooner you get on the phone, there's kind of I just finished a blog post. It hasn't been published yet. But one of the things I discovered in one of these research sessions we did is that to be the first person to make the call, especially with expireds, is a competitive advantage, in that there isn't necessarily a specific time. I would say start with 8. The recommendation from this prospector in the article that's coming out, which we'll make an announcement, is that you kind of have to play with 15 to 30-minute increments, either earlier or later in the day, to see when you are the first person. So you dial and they pick up and they say, hey, you're the third or fourth person who's called me. You obviously know that you're not the first person. And so you should start moving your time forward or back in the day to start finding when that sweet spot is. And so the mornings is one of the times where our top prospectors do their sessions. Some of them start a little bit later. We watch you all the time, and you know, you
not a weird way, in a very professional way.
No, there's a weird way too. And so you do your prospecting sessions in the afternoon, and you have success with that as well. And so, you know, there's a standard starting time, I would say, of in the morning, but in general, you really don't want to test when are you the first caller, especially with expireds.
I actually have experienced the same thing. I started calling around 8:30, was starting to do some callbacks, and I got thank yous for calling them that early. But Gene, the Volpenator, the Evil Bald Ninja, love to kind of get your thoughts. You work with a ton of different agents out there. You know, what are you hearing on your side when it comes to starting to lead gen and just kind of success levels?
What's up, guys? How's everybody doing? Friday.
It is.
This is cool. Listen, McDaniel, you guys should switch spots a little bit so I can see that REDEX logo. I can't see it with you in the way.
But that's okay. Matt's, damn it, I'm getting kicked off my own shit.
There you go. There you go. Well, listen, on my side, I think, it differs depending on where you're at and what your target is. I've heard agents say stuff like, I get people as they're coming home from work. They haven't talked to anybody all day. I'll get them at 6 o'clock. I hear agents telling me I landed a deal because I called them on New Year's Day at 10 in the morning, because nobody else is doing it. And I think volume is the key in that case. Like for me, I think it's about, you probably know, and maybe Justin will tell me otherwise. A lot of that is numbers based. And what the people on the other end of the phone want. Because you're always going to get somebody at like 8 o'clock in the morning that loves it. The next call is always going to be like, why are you if you called me at 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm not doing business with you because you probably woke me up. Right?
You salty East Coasters. Yeah, I know agents that do morning and afternoon, specifically so that they catch, they're hitting those expireds at different times. And a lot of times they're catching the people that didn't answer in the morning. They'll catch them because they pick up in the afternoon. So it's a little bit different. I think the risk for everyone that's on the listening end, especially if prospecting is not yet a daily part of your business, is you push it later in the day. That's when your decision fatigue starts to kick in. It's going to be less likely that you make the right decision and hop on the phone. So I think, Justin, going back to like 8 o'clock in the morning, not only are you going to be, swimming with the waters with the other agents that are actually working and making the prospecting calls in the morning, but you're more likely to actually do it, especially if you're starting out.
Yeah, that goes back to that first principle, which is timing. Timing is really important. I think there's two types of timing. You can look at your own personal energetic timing. I think that's one of the most important things. If you don't have good energy, you got to bring it. That's one of the things that we find that top prospectors do is they have a rhythm and routine timing to help build their energy, build their focus, build their ability to bring that, whatever it is. Sometimes they call it selling hope. I would call it bringing
ludicrous energy, beer energy.
But whatever it is, that kind of brings you your own kind of special version of yourself to the world. You gotta bring it. So timing, what is good for you? When is your energy the highest? When are you going to feel the most productive? And then the other side of the equation really is, I think every market's different. Part of the research we did on an article that's coming out on this exact topic really looks at, if you're targeting specific neighborhoods, right? As an example, some of those neighborhoods happen to be in good school zones. And so you're probably going to have you got to know your audience. I think that's what I'm getting at is if you know your audience and your lead types, which is the second thing, there's timing and types. If you're looking at your types of customers that you're trying to reach, that would then really help you get into the psychology of what is their timing, right? Do you want to align your timing with their timing? And so if your audience or your target customers, the types of leads that you're calling in a specific neighborhood happen to have a specific profile, let's just use schools because that's really the easiest. You get into the psychology behind that. You're like, well, we know school in this school zone starts at this time. And so it's probably not good to call them at a time where they're transitioning from getting the kids into the car and back, but maybe earlier or later. And so that's probably a good example to kind of wrap around that first part, which is kind of test with those timings to figure out when you're getting people on the phone and try to do some psychological profiling of those people like an FBI investigator.
That sounds pretty logical, actually. Matt, we got a lot of other questions. We got a lot to do on this show today. We do. We got some people and places to see. Where do we want to go? What do we want to do? We got multiple cameras. We have cameras all over us, guys. So if you guys see other cameras around us, don't be scared. They're not going to hurt you.
That's right.
Yeah, this is one. Yeah. So I'll show you guys one of our cameramen. He's right here behind us. There he is. He's filming us here, and then we have Matt with another camera crew over there. So we're going to have a lot of good editing. But I see some people walking around, Matt. Where do we want to go? What do you want to do?
Well, I know people are curious about for rent by owners, so we want to talk about that for a little bit. We've actually got an agent back there who's in the office today who you want to talk with a little bit. His name is Kent. So why don't we head back that direction? And what's that?
Yeah, let's bring Mr. Curtis in.
Well, there you go. We can also bring Curtis in.
Curtis, come on in. Guys, this guy was with us all day yesterday. He picked us up from the airport. And this is killing me. And it was so much fun hanging with these two guys. You guys come on in the frames a little bit more.
Yep.
Help me understand. I was asked by another client or another agent the other day. They're like, was the for rent by owners like something they tried to do, or was it something that they kind of just did? And I said, it was something they tried to do.
Yeah.
Where's the origin, the genesis?
So
do a quick intro of yourself.
Yeah, I'm Curtis, the CMO here at REDEX. So all things sales and marketing, and I've
Been with the company for how long?
12 years with REDEX.
But it feels like one. Time flies.
Time flies when you're having fun. So, for rent by owners is something that resonated with me a lot. Because I was a for rent by owner when this came about, and the idea is that you have people who are renting homes. They're not using a property management company, and at the height of their frustration is a really good opportunity for a real estate agent to jump in and help them do something, whether that's get rid of the property, see the equity potential or position that they're in, to help them manage the property. We know a lot of offices have property management services, or to help find renters, depending on what market you're in. That could be lucrative lead type for a real estate agent. So, but at the moment when they're trying to find a renter, trying to find a tenant, fill the vacancy, is the height of their frustration. Yeah. And every time I had to do that, because I was too cheap to use a property management, and the truth is because I didn't understand that I was actually underpricing my rents anyway. It would have paid for itself to do that. Really? But I just didn't understand that, even being in the industry, right?
Huh? That's an angle to take with
it's a total angle.
It's like, hey, you might be, even if you can't help them sell it, you can offer value, which helps create the relationship by saying, hey, are you pricing even your rents correctly? Right. So even if they're not.
Yeah, there's actually a site I use called rentometer.com, and I go there and I'll plug in the address, the number of bedrooms, square footage, and it'll give me a meter, like a gas meter on a car, kind of your low, medium, or high. And then the averages and the medians around you with a geographical map of up to 2 miles. So it helps you kind of go back to them and be like, Justin, Curtis, like, dude, you're spot on. You're totally missing the point.
Right.
Like, we should talk about this.
Right.
And if they don't want to readjust, I picked up 4 investment buyers by doing these calls to the for rent by buyers for rent by owners, because they're obviously liquid heavy, and they have propensity to buy investments. It's a great lead gen for buyer source.
Right. So I am a listing source. I think there's a lot of people setting listing appointments, and that's where it resonated with me when the idea of these leads came about. It's like, in fact, you can find on our blog an old like open letter that I wrote with my phone number that said, please, will an agent help me get out of these properties? And no one ever called me. Because I wanted to do that. And finally, it was one of my sales guys that got his real estate license that said, let me run some numbers, do this. And he came back with a number that I thought was impossible. And I was like, if you could sell it for that, you got it. And we were under contract in about 15 days. And the guy came with a 20% cash over appraised value just because the market was hot. And I didn't understand that until an agent,
It's funny is you're the chief marketing officer of a REDEX who sells for rent by owners, yet.
It goes to the importance of a good real estate agent that knows their market, because I know how to talk to real estate agents. I know what's going on. I know how agents are building their businesses, but I had this rental thing on the side, and it was this side hustle that all it did was take my time and energy. Yeah. And I didn't. Yeah. So that's why we need good agents in the world, because there's companies
not only you, the
that shall not be
also
named. Yeah. That are out there trying to do this for consumers, and we need the agents to do it.
Well, that's why Matt and I, that's why I started using this product. And guys, this isn't a pitch for REDEX. This is just something that we believe in because it's helping my business grow. So we wanted to come out and just kind of show you guys what different companies have to offer and how you can build. Because right now, what's going on in this industry, we're seeing a downturn in the marketplace. As of August 18th, here in California, we're seeing a shift downwards. Prices are staying high, volumes levels are dropping, if not staying the same. So you need to be a little bit agile when it comes to finding your next deal, your next buyer, your next seller.
I heard you say it a couple of times. It stuck out for me, and I think this is like a good principle, like finding the principles and sharing the principles back. Because I heard you use the word frustration maybe 2 or 3 times. I was frustrated. And I think a lot of agents, when they hear the word frustrated, they then push away from dealing with other people's frustrations, right? Like expired, frustrated with the last agent didn't get to sell. For sale by owners, frustrated with, I guess, agents calling them and wanting to list their house and it's still not selling. Right. But frustration is where the opportunity is, right? And I listen to you almost on at least a weekly basis on your other show where you do the live prospecting, and that the mental software that you have to be able to transform frustration into action, into listings, is I think a key critical part of this is that at least the first part of awareness is, yeah, we all know what frustration feels like directed towards us or towards other people, and to take a different approach in relationship with the concept of frustration. So that way, when you see or hear frustration, you're not like, oh, that's not for me.
Right.
It's like, that's what you need to move towards. Regardless of what lead type you're using, regardless of what time you're calling them.
It's really true, guys. No matter what you guys are going to be doing for business in the future, make sure that you do it persistently and consistently. So, Matt, we have a bunch of stuff we need to keep getting to, because I know for you that for me that we get carried away on conversations because we have so much fun. I think we're going to take these guys. We're going to go for a walk through the office, aren't we, Don?
I think we should.
Okay. Well, guys, want to lead the way?
Let's do it.
Okay.
And while we do that, Greg, why don't you riddle me this? So Kevin Drews has a quick question. Any idea for a good opener for rentals? I'm looking to start contacting for rent by owners to see if they'd rather unload the property. So while we walk and talk, Greg, why don't you share just a quick script for how to open a call with a for rent by owner?
For a rent by owner, and I'm going to sit down here because I have our pool table here sitting. So, gentlemen, shall we sit?
Yeah, let's move the conversation.
Let's move ourselves into a comfortable conversation. So when it comes to a conversation that you would have with someone for a rent by owner, I'll give you my idea on scripts.
Sure.
You guys give me yours. Fair?
Yeah.
So what I do when I call the for rent by owner, I say, hi, Mr., Mrs., so and so. Usually I dyslexia, so I don't say their names. Say, hey, I'm looking for the owner of 123 Main Street. Is this you? Yes, it is. Okay, hey, that's exactly why I'm calling. And that script I always use is that's exactly why I'm calling. Either if it is them or not them. One, I can mark the name off the list if it was a renter or someone else. Or if it is them, I say, hey, look, I understand that you have your property for rent at 123 Main Street. Quick question for you. Is it still available? And they'll say yes, or they'll say no. Again, I'll answer that's exactly why I'm calling. Hey, have you thought, if you guys have already got that one rented, are you by any chance looking for additional investment properties this year? I have a list of properties that are not on the market that I know would like to sell, to see if that's something of interest for you. And then I kind of gauge their interest at that point and then go from there. I've picked up multiple investment buyers that said they'll buy anything if the numbers are right. Wrote them down. I picked up four active, heavy cash buyers in 1 week by doing that script. But Justin, Curtis, what about you guys?
I think so. For me, again, being a for rent by owner myself and understanding the frustration. Not everybody's like that, but I think if you make the assumption that maybe they like money more than they like the property.
I like money.
Right.
I like money.
Good
principle.
I would start. It's a perfect way to start to make sure they're the right person. That's exactly why I'm calling. And then I would ask a question about, it looks like you're managing that property yourself. They're going to say yes. Say, well, let me ask you a question. If I could show you a way to put more money in your pocket versus you continuing to insert their pain point, right? Insert it, managing it yourself, or dealing with tenants
or
and
go
evictions,
show it to renters, or anything else, and take them up
reviewing
more.
applications. If I could show you how I could put more money in your pocket versus you continuing to do all of that yourself, is there any reason why you couldn't sit down for 15 minutes? And to then sit down, because then just exactly what Greg's saying, there's so many opportunities. They may not be wanting to sell, but they may want to buy other investment properties.
Yeah.
They may be a good property.
I hear 1031 exchange mentioned every single time I watch your show.
Yep.
1031 exchanges. Funny thing is, guys, is what I did is I actually picked up a rental property my first week calling these for rent by owners. And he went out there. He wasn't happy with his property management company that was attempting to rent it, right? So I went out there. I know it's not going to be where I'm going to make my money. I'm at $600, $800, $1,000 is not where I'm going to make my cash. What I'm going to make my cash is the relationship with the seller, because he has not only this home, he has a bigger home, and he's going to need to take equity out of one of them to move his wife's jewelry company closer to home. So he actually fired his other property management company and actually went with me because he's like, dude, I just want to work with you, man. I like you.
Yeah.
We've got a story. So we often prospect with agents, and a lot of them, it's their first time prospecting, and we will have them prospect neighborhoods or for rent by owners because nobody's cussing at you, nobody's hanging up the phone. it tends to be an easier phone call.
They're much hotter calls.
Yeah, so if somebody's new, we push them towards that. So new agent, she's prospecting for the first time. This is down in Las Vegas. She connects with a for rent by owner lead, and they have a good conversation. And he says, you know what? We're actually looking at liquidating all 32 of our
32.
We have scripts available, don't we?
Yeah, we have scripts.
Guys, I see Matt's face. You guys don't see it, but he's bugging out like 32.
Good Lord. Yeah, and by the way, Greg, I'm about to tell you something that is historic in the history of Real Estate Uncensored. Please speak up. And I
I'm
guarantee
sorry,
you
I can't hear you. What are you saying?
I guarantee you that will never be said again. But just make sure that you are make sure that you are pointed towards the phone when you talk, and try to get the camera as close as you can to the guys when they're speaking up, so that way people can hear them a little bit better. And please do not take this as an indication of future encouragement to talk.
All right, Johnson face.
Mm-hmm. All right, should we walk and talk a bit?
We need to get Justin's opinion here really quick, and then we'll move on.
Yeah, so I'm not a prospector. I just follow and listen to prospectors like you, like Curtis, like our top customers. And that one of the things that I took away from listening to you both right now and in the show, and is that just conceptually, I think from a script standpoint, you can watch Greg in his show. He goes after for rent by owners all the time. So I don't have like the verbiage that you're going to want right now. Go listen to him. We also have a set of scripts that we can put it in the show notes, set a link, and we can give you what we have that people who buy our for rent by owner leads, you can get that script from us for free at the bottom of the show notes. But the thing I think I want to get to, again, I like diving into principles, is agents hear the word for rent by owner, and immediately I think their mindset is, I don't work rentals, right? They shut down. I don't work rentals. That's not for me. And I think that's I think, as a business model, yeah, you don't want to be in the business of rentals, right? I don't think many agents like aspire to being, the rental king in their neighborhoods or their marketplaces, but that's not what this is about. What this is about is what we just talked about, is finding people who have rentals, who have the frustrations that I was mentioning before, which is the opportunity, and that just taking this one thing to the next level. And this is what I loved about what you told me a couple of days ago is, yeah, you're not going to make much money on a rental, but what you did is you created a customer. And in the marketing world, what we love doing is going and doing things that build trust with potential customers, where we build the know, like, and trust elements. And so by meeting with somebody, like they said, I liked you, right? Yeah. How could they like you if they never met you? And if you weren't working those rentals or going after the for rent by owners, you would never have had that opportunity. And so this is a low friction, low cost, because in the end, you're probably going to break even on the rentals. But what you've done, the same way you're going to spend money on advertising to acquire a customer, you're spending the time and energy to acquire a customer. And as we're hearing right now, how many deals? 32 on this side, 4 or 5 in the last week on this side. And so the opportunity is about building the trust and then getting the business next.
So, Gene, I want to bust in with you real quick. For rent by owners, I want to get your opinion on this, because he's a master marketer. He's the evil bald ninja, the master of all things digital when it comes to making agents money. How would you position yourself with that type of lead? And as you answer that, we're going to meander to our next spot. So wow us with your goodness, my bald friend.
Well, real quick, explain that question a little bit better. What do you mean with how would I explain? Okay. Ask the question again at the end.
So if I said, okay, Gene, here is a list. I'm going to give you a list of people who are property owners, and they're trying to rent it themselves. What would you do to position that agent as the expert to, one, list the property for a rental, and two, start building the relationship of knowledge so that when they come time to sell that or buy another one or sell their primary property, that agent already has the inroads in, so no one else can swoop on them. Okay,
so video, targeting, retargeting, and I'm going to throw another thing in there, which is, I'm assuming when you have the list, I have a couple items, right? I have physical address, I have an email address, and a phone number, right? Yes. I'm going to assume yes. Okay, good. So I would hit them with a multiple pronged approach, right? So I'd get them online, I'd cookie them, I'd retarget them, and I'd mail stuff to their house, all leading back to a video capture or multiple video captures, so that they can see that this is what we're doing on a regular basis. Here's where my expertise lies. Call me if you are thinking about selling, renting, doubling down, whatever, investing, whatever.
guys, and I think that's perfectly logical. I love it. What's behind me right now is the sales kind of force and everything right here. This is Patrick. We had dinner with him last night. Say hi. I caught him in the middle of a call. But I think we're going to try to get a quick chat with Mark, right?
Yeah.
Is he calling Fizbos?
Yeah, he's the CEO. We're outside his door stalking him.
Nice.
Let's see. Did we get him? We did get him. And there I am on TV. Guys, I want you to meet Mark. He's the founder of REDEX, and just one cool dude. They are so cool to us. They took us out to dinner. Why don't you and I grab a seat here so it won't be so jittery as I sit there and interview with you. We went out to dinner last night. You guys took us to a really cool place. Where'd you guys take us?
Yeah, we took you up to Sundance Ski Resort, Robert Redford's place.
That was such a cool, guys. If you guys haven't been there, it's so cool. But I want to talk about REDEX.
Okay.
Help me understand kind of the founding idea behind it, kind of 30-second, 10,000-foot view, so they can kind of get an idea of you guys, your culture, and everything else.
So that's a lot to put in 30 seconds.
Yes, it is.
But so look, REDEX, fundamentally, we are about helping real estate agents develop sustainable business strategies. And to me, what that means is it's about prospecting. And we don't view prospecting, I think, the traditional way, which is all about cold calling.
Yeah.
We view it as any proactive approach that an agent is taking to generate more business. So I think of agents who have a really solid system working their sphere of influence. That's a form of prospecting. Agents who are, of course, calling expireds, FSBOs for rent by owner leads, other stuff. We believe that prospecting is sort of the key to having stability within the business, because anybody who's been close to real estate recognizes it's a tough business. And we've actually seen a lot of our own employees, after they see guys like you being successful, they start. You guys, I think, are going to go talk to Kent. But as he saw more and more people get successful prospecting, he decided he wanted to go out and prospect himself.
Really?
But real estate is hard. And how do you sort of round out some of the big ups and downs that most real estate agents feel?
Big time.
And to me, the answer is having a system in prospecting. So REDEX is about helping our clients become successful. One of the proudest statistics we have is that our agents make 3 to 4 times the national average of a real estate agent in income. And you asked me last night, do we have a particular type of client we look for? And my response was, yeah, there's I think a particular type of agent who ends up being successful prospecting, but ultimately our goal is to help every agent achieve sort of their highest potential within the business. And so we love helping agents. We love building tools. Fundamentally, we're a software company, and we want to marry agents with good technology that helps them to achieve that success. But the hard work is still on the agents, right?
It is always going to be on the agents, guys. That's why we're highlighting REDEX studies, because ever since we had Justin on our show, the way that he's interacted with me, we have a standing call at 4 p.m. every day. 30 minutes debrief, what's working and what's not, how can we help, what can we do to grow? And the way that this company has been responded to me is astounding. It's not like, we're a big company, you can go fly a kite. It's like, no, dude, like, we really value your input, and they're already putting things into action in about a month that are going to help me on multiple different sides, go high tech and low touch. So, Matt, is there a question that jumps out at you that you want to pose to Kurt, Justin, or any of us in here? Mark, or even myself, if you want to ask me a question, Bubba, you can ask me a question.
Oh yeah, I have many questions for you, but none that are suitable for this particular broadcast. Let's talk about why agents need a kind of a platform where they can do their prospecting. Let's talk about the tools a little bit, because everyone that prospects has, we see them all the time. We see all the questions in every Facebook group. It's mostly related to either what do I say or what tool do I use, right? So what do you think about if you were to help somebody just think through how to make a good decision on what tools to use? What are some things that they can think about?
Well, first thing I would do is I'd look at agents who are highly successful that they're trying to model their business after, right? So I think that's why we tend to focus our energy on working with guys like Greg and you, because we see that you guys are having success, and we're having guys like Justin collaborate with them every single week to figure out, well, what is working? How do we make improvements? How do we get better? But after that, once you know the tools that highly successful agents are using, then it's a matter of getting in and learning those systems, right? They're successful in those tools because they've educated themselves, they've made it a habit, they've built sort of a business system around that, and then they've paired the tool with skills. And that's one of the hardest things for us to help agents with is, I think most agents, and it's human nature, we're all looking for that silver bullet, right? We were talking about that last night.
Yeah,
and I think that agents, one of the challenges is they come into us and they think, man, if I buy the tool, it's over. And what they don't realize, or what they underestimate, is how much skills it takes to be successful at this. And last night you were telling me about how you started by door knocking, did that for a year, then you started, your dad made you be your ISA for a year, making these phone calls. Well, through all of that, you've developed a sense of confidence. You've developed your skills, your scripts. You know what to say. So to me, success for real estate agent comes when you marry really great tools like the REDEX, and focus on developing your own personal skills as a selling agent to be successful with that. And those two things have to come together.
Well, here's the thing, guys. Look, it's not that REDEX or any other system is going to make the difference. It's not like this is going to be the one all be all, the legendary silver bullet. You've got to work, and I call it shelf assurance. You know what? You buy the product and you put it on the shelf and you feel really good you bought it. That's not going to make you any money. You've got to hustle and grind. And I'm sitting in the room full of legend. I'm probably too far away from the mic for Matt, so I'll just get real close like this. Can you see me, nose hairs? So we are now. What are some other thoughts you guys have for us? Something we want to cover in here, because I know we have another gentleman that we want to meet. Kind of go over some stuff. So Mark, do you want to walk us down to the next one and kind of see?
Are we going to Kent?
Yeah,
after this?
Kent. It might be a surprise to him, but
deer in headlights.
He's on actually a call right now. Go run over there and
we'll go yank him off here.
And just give us a thumbs up or something.
So Kent, just to give you a little background on who we're about to introduce you guys to, Kent is one of our inside sales reps here at the REDEX. He's been with us for years, and he would go out to a lot of these coaching events. He would see a lot of the top prospectors, and he decided to go get his real estate license. And because he spends most of his professional day on the phone, making phone calls to help sell real estate agents who are interested in REDEX services, he already had a confidence getting on the phone. So he was like, man, I'm going to take those skills, marry them with prospecting. And he went out, got his real estate license, and he tag teams with his wife. So let's go.
Let's go do it.
Yeah, let's go chat with him.
All right, guys. Now, how awesome is that? We got to interview, and we're still interviewing some of the best people in this company. These guys are not schlups. I mean, they're making this thing happen. And I think I'm going to scare the heck out of you, Kurt. Now, okay. First, let's introduce yourself. Kind of tell me a little bit about you.
Yeah, my name is Kent Brown.
Kent. Sorry, guys. That's my bad. First time meeting him.
That's
Kent.
all right. I've been working here at REDEX for about 3 years on the sales team. And I would say 6 months ago, I got the urge to really get my license and explore the world of prospecting. And so in that process, I would say I got my license 2 months ago, got into coaching and started prospecting immediately on day one. And by doing so, my wife and I will have done 5 listings within our first 3 months.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, just utilizing the tools here.
Just REDEX.
Was it for sale by owners, for rent by owners, expireds, FISBAs? What were you using?
So one came off expireds. My wife got a listing off expireds. We have 2 off for rent by owners and then 2 off geo leads right now. I was a guy that was pretty much a for rent by owner.
2 off of for rent by owners. So if you guys don't think those work, living proof in the flesh that it does work.
He sells it and uses it.
Tells it and uses it. That's a true believer right there.
For rent by owners are by far my favorite lead type to call because you can work them in a couple of ways. If they're not looking to sell, then get them as a buyer because they're always looking to buy more properties and they want an aggressive agent to help them buy those properties. So I always hit them with, well, when are you planning on selling this property? How did you happen to get into purchasing in this area? And if they aren't interested at all, I just move them straight into, okay, when are you planning on purchasing your next property in this area?
So let's do this. Well, Mark's going to step in here really quickly, but can you give out your information? Because if they need an aggressive agent here in the Salt Lake area, I mean, how are they going to get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can reach me at...
What's your full name? Do the whole thing.
Kent Brown. I'm with Summit Realty. And 208-994-9772. Don't call me about REDEX on that.
Yeah, I was about to say that. But if people have questions, because not only is he selling the product every day, but also using it, if people have questions, is there a way for people to reach him to
dial 1 when they call into REDEX and then ask for Kent? One of the things Kent told me the other day that I thought was super interesting is he said he deals all the time with real estate agents who are asking him questions about is a dialer effective or not? And I'd love Kent to share his conversion experience, because he used to sell the dialer and wonder, like, does a multi-line dialer really make a difference? So do you want to just share some stuff you were talking about with that?
Yeah, definitely. So the multi-line dialer I was scared to death of, to the point that I really wasn't a believer in even selling it here at REDEX. And then, so when I started prospecting, I was just using the single line dialer. And then I actually hooked up with a guy in Florida, started making phone calls for him. And at that point, I was just like, screw it, I'm going to try the triple line dialer. These aren't my people anyway. So he was kind of my test. And after that, I was connecting with so many more people and getting so many more appointments, because I was a lot more crisp with my conversations, because I was connecting with someone I felt like every minute, as opposed to sitting there waiting for the next person to answer.
You know what? There's something similar story with me on this one. I was actually doing the triple line dialer. Never did the single line. I always wanted to do more is better, right?
Yeah.
I had a gal I was coaching with, and she's like, Greg, how are you getting these numbers you talk about in your training classes? And I said, well, it's really simple. I do triple lines. She's like, I'm afraid of it. I don't like it. And so I said, well, I can't help you if you're not willing to do the new thing. I can't get the results. So the next day, 2 days later, she comes back and says, oh my God, Greg, all my stuff is working. It's so perfect. Like, I'm getting the numbers. I'm like, what'd you do? She's like, I got the triple line dialer. And so, yes, it is a little bit scary, but Kent, I mean, what got you over that fear hump of the triple line dialer?
Just trying it for the first time, honestly. I think if you go from a single line and then measure your numbers with the triple line, which we allow you to do through Pulse, you'll be converted immediately. We work with a lot of agents, watching them prospect. And by doing so, I'll switch them over to the triple line dialer. And then the next day, just to really convert them, I'll switch them back to the single line. Every single time, they will go with the triple line just for the efficiency.
That's awesome. Dude, Kent, you're awesome.
Yeah.
I truly appreciate it. Guys, get a hold of him. One more time, phone number?
208-994-9772. Or you can call into REDEX's number. It's the 800-731-7339, option 1.
Perfect. That's awesome. All right, Johnson, direct me, my friend. Where are we going, amigo? Are we still walking about like an Australian?
Yeah, let's walk and talk a little bit. So let's keep showing off the office a little bit. But quick question, the other guys might be able to throw in on, because I know you don't do a ton of expired listings, but what would be a good opening question? That question comes from Andy Shear, our good buddy over there in Philly, and a horrible fan of some unknown football team that I will not dignify the name on the air. But what's your
world champions?
Those. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Just checking.
Yeah,
exactly. Soon to be dethroned world champions. What's your best opening question for an expired listing?
For an expired listing, I would ask him once you identify that it's the homeowner. So let me back up.
Mm-hmm.
We know that if you ask a certain way, that you'll increase your chances of connecting with the correct person. So just the opening script is you need to ask for first name. Hi, is Greg available? Because the name may be wrong, but the number may be correct, right? Oh, okay. There's no Greg here. Rather than hang up, I'm looking for Greg McDaniel. No, nobody lives here. Or they're going to say, that's my brother, or that's my, somebody related. Right. And if they still say no, then you say, I'm looking for the owner of 123 Street. So you need to go through all that. And if you ask that way, you'll increase the number of connections you'll make with the correct homeowner. Once they say, yes, that's me, I'm the homeowner, you go, so good. I'm calling about 123 Street. Is it still for sale? And that's the first question I would ask. They're going to say, yes, or you're the 10th agent that's called me or whatever. And then the next follow-up question again for me would be, can you tell me why you think it didn't sell? And they're going to give you every reason, why it didn't sell. But in doing so, they're going to give you all of the pain points that you as the agent need to come in and overcome. So those would be the first two openers.
Gotcha.
Mark, love it. Justin, and you guys want to jump in? No, we're walking and talking. All right. So where do we want to go?
Well, we'll just walk you around. Actually, it's Friday, so
I'll do
all
this.
of our engineers are out at lunch right now. So we're going to walk down an empty hall and kind of end back on the other side. But one thing is, I don't. We talked a lot about REDEX, and I could talk about REDEX for days. I think I'm actually a fan of REDEX. But what questions do you guys have for us? Because over 15 years, we talked with 50,000 agents. And we've broken down exactly what they do to have success in prospecting. So I guess I would turn a little bit and say, what questions do you have for us that are outside of our product, that are outside of the passion that we have for building products? We could talk about that for days, but we also have a lot to share just because we crack. That's what we do all day long is just crack codes. So
Look, we found another legend in here. Say hello. Who are you?
Neil Spencer. I'm a senior product manager at REDEX. I deal with, I help build Vortex and Storm.
He's not kidding, guys. All right, so
Would you want new things or things that
drop you.
thinking of breaking things?
Yeah.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the difference, guys, maybe in FSBOs and expires, because those are the two probably most common types of like pure outbound cold calls that most people think about or they hear other agents in their office doing. And especially if they're a newer agent listening or watching with us, they may not even know what the abbreviation means. So let's backtrack a little bit and just talk about, maybe start with Justin. Justin, what do you think about is the difference between those two and how it actually translates into how the calls feel to an agent? How different are those two calls?
Just go back again and tell me what am I
FSBOs, expireds.
Oh, well, yeah. So, at least with expireds, as we all know, they've agreed to using an agent. And for whatever reasons, it didn't sell, and that there's already an acceptance of having an agent work with them. And so you're having a different type of conversation. A lot of the things I've seen and studied is what you're really trying to overcome as far as objections with expired homeowners is typically relisting with the agent that they just expired with. And
right.
So I don't know. I don't have a statistically valid number, but I would say 50% of those conversations get into those types of that area in that arena. So that's still, those are good numbers, 1 out of 2. Like who would, that's not terrible. But then on the for sale by owner side, you're dealing with people who have the resistance to working with an agent, DIY people. They're trying to do it themselves in a hot market, especially. They think they can do it themselves, and in some cases they can. We did an interview with Mike Ferry a couple of months ago that he did some feedback for us on some of the top objection busters. And one of the big things I got from that interview with him was that sometimes you just have to move on when they're stuck on certain things, and that it's okay to walk away from someone who isn't ready to work with an agent because you need to spend your time with others. I thought that was it was like accepting the fact that there's never going to be a set of objections or a formula that's going to 100% defeat every single situation, and that if you, again, the whole concept of anything fitting under the silver bullet principle is probably likely not a real thing. So, with that in mind, there's like an element of grace that you're just to know going in, you're not going to be 100% on anything, even if you're the most ninja, like Matrix style bullet dodger on either the expired side or the for sale by owner side, but on the for sale by owner side, attrition is your friend. Time is your friend and the enemy of the for sale by owner. Whereas, if they're priced wrong, it doesn't matter how hot the market is. If they're priced outside of the market, like options in the stock market, they're just not going to be in the money. And so what you need to do and what you do, and I've heard you do, is you have a great follow-up system, a great notation system that kind of tracks where they are. And I don't know the exact questions the right question to ask to harness the right trigger and responses, which then I'd go back to you and say, what do you do when you're prospecting FSBOs, and what questions do you ask them to kind of elicit how you're going to follow up with them?
He just threw me under the bus.
He did. I can throw this out there too to save you, Greg, from the under the bus throwing you just experienced. So our good buddy Aaron, who's on the lead gen scripts and objections group, speaking to your point, Justin, about the timing of contacting a FSBO, he doesn't even call in the first 3 weeks. He calls 3 weeks after they've been on the market and goes, "Hey, this is Aaron. Remember we talked when you first put your home up on the market?" Yeah. They never talked. He just goes with that script and they go, "Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, Aaron, how's it going? How are you?" Yeah. And then he just picks it up from there because he knows they've already, like, 3 weeks is long enough to experience the pain and the frustration of being on the market long enough. But let's finish out because we've got some really good questions coming in from the live audience. So I want to make sure that we get to these before we go too far down the rabbit hole.
We're going to move back to you.
Okay.
Best phone number for getting any kind of product, implementation. Okay.
All right. Well, let's talk numbers actually for a second. Guys, if you can hear me, either one of you can take this, but are you guys seeing any kind of standard, like, outbound number of dials to appointment numbers? Any way that, like, an agent can just know if they're in the ballpark of good to great in terms of how many calls it takes to get an appointment?
So the answer is yes. The answer is yes, but let me answer in a little bit different way. I'm a can't chew bubble gum and walk guy, so let me just answer. I think that people are asking that because they don't truly understand the numbers that they need to be tracking, and what they need to be tracking is contacts per appointments or contacts per day. And we're seeing from top prospectors, depending on the lead type, we know that if you call FSBOs 3 times, that you're going to talk to about 70% of them. If you call the for sale by owner 3 times, that statistically you're going to talk to 7 out of 10 of them. So and there's typically only 1 phone number per FSBO lead. But with expireds, there may be 4 or 5 potential phone numbers that you need to call up to 3 times to get in touch with them. But to directly answer your question, 35 to 50 contacts is a daily goal that we see from top prospectors all the time.
Yeah.
And find a contact. I think that's also another area of confusion.
Yeah. So I think a contact is anybody that you have a meaningful conversation with. I may not. I wouldn't count a contact if I said, "Hey, is Matt there?" and click, they hung up the phone, right? So it's anybody you have a meaningful conversation with. So even if you're calling expireds and somebody says you have the wrong number, I'm not associated with that address, you flip that into a circle prospecting type script where you say, well, when are you thinking about buying or selling? Or do you know anyone around you that's thinking about buying or selling? Do you mind if I put you on my list and send you some market updates every once? And you flip that around, and the more contacts you have, the more appointments you set, and you go from there.
That's an awesome answer. Justin, anything you want to add on that?
That was wonderful.
All right. Oh, well, Matt, do you think hopefully they answered the question from our viewer?
It did, yeah, exactly. It was a very, very good question and response. So, final question. Actually, let's get to that in a second because there are some things here that people are asking that I think is very specific to REDEX, and I want you guys to share how they can get those questions answered, and I'll throw them out to you real quick. So the first question is, do luxury agents use REDEX, which I'm sure that's true, and then what's the difference between REDEX, Vulcan, Land Voice, Mojo, and the quality of the data differences? Where can people go to learn those types of the answers to those types of questions?
Great. Our website is theredx, TheRedX.com. You can go there. We have a lot of stories on our blogs where we interview top prospecting agents. A lot of those people have used multiple different services. So rather than me try to tell you what the differences are, go to the blogs and read what people who have used all of the different systems are saying. Greg is somebody who's used other systems and can speak to that point a lot better than we can. So in terms of comparison, we have plenty of people here in the office that can answer your call. So just call in 800-731-7339. We're not about browbeating you into buying the product, so they'll answer your questions. In fact, they may talk you out of certain lead types because you may just not have the personality to go after expireds. You may just need to be able to go after neighborhoods and do circle prospecting. So call them. They'll have a pleasant conversation with you and answer all those questions.
Well, guys, we can go into it later, but one of the reasons why I've chosen REDEX is the fact that it's a variety pack of conversations you can have in a day or a week or whatever you want to do. If you're not in the mood to get your butt handed to you hardcore, well, don't call expires. Do some circle prospecting. If you feel like you're just down to go street brawling, get out there and do expires and then do some FSBOs, do some for rent by owners. Just pick your flavor for the day. And the system always updates itself, so it's always the newest, freshest stuff. That's one of the things that I like. The conversations I've had are a lot more uplifting with the people I'm talking to than on the other system that I was using, Mojo, for quite a while, because it was a one-trick pony, essentially. And with this company, REDEX, they've opened up my opportunity to have better quality conversations in a shorter amount of time. So from someone who's doing it in a luxury market, yes, you can do it, and yes, you can have different conversations. And then, where did the hour go, Matt? Where did the hour go?
Yeah, good question. It went really, really fast. So let's finish up with this question. This is from Derek Lehman, who's watching live. It says the number of new FSBO leads per week has gone way, way down in his market area, which is Atlanta. And so the question is, given that drop in the number of leads, should I drop FSBOs in general for a while?
No.
Why is that?
It's another opportunity. I mean, the leads have dropped in count. Why not go back, use REDEX, go back like I've done, go back 10 years and download all that data. They have a gal here that specializes in the MLSs, so set up a search for you. You just have to follow the algorithm and the mixture here. And I have 2,100 and change leads that are 10 years older and new, from 2008 back to now, and they're fantastic conversations. So envision a nice bottle of wine. It might not have been perfect when you bought it to drink it, but maybe it's 1, 2, 5, 10 years later, life has shifted on them in some way, shape, or form. And it's an opportunity to reintroduce yourself. They've made a great deal of equity in their property since they originally thought about maybe selling the home themselves. So yes, I would continue to absolutely call the FSBOs, without a doubt, guys.
FSBOs to add onto your account is $20 a month. So I mean, you don't have to have very many leads that are coming in. I would also look, well, one, we're going to take that and go back and check, because if you've noticed a dip, then we need to first make sure that we're delivering all the leads that you're paying for. So we'll take that as an action item. But two, often FSBOs and expires can be indicative of what's happening in the marketplace. So there's always a lot of FSBOs when FSBOs are selling on their own because the market's so hot. So I would turn that around and say something happening in your marketplace that is giving you some insight on, and in which case I wouldn't cancel either.
Yeah, I would look at that from a market standpoint and say, going back to the frustration, is that as less people are able to sell their homes on their own, FSBO count's going to go down, which means the friction to selling is going up, which means the frustration to selling is going up on their own, which means the opportunity to access these people is going up.
Guys, they speak truth. Contact them if you guys want to. Look, I'm excited about them because they're helping me get great connections with folks. Our market is significantly slowed. This is, like I said, this is a variety pack. So if one isn't working as well as you hoped, switch over to another one. Find a vertical that's going to work for you in the marketplace and that's going to be best for your lead gen. So,
right. All right, guys. Well, we talked a little bit about how to reach REDEX and learn more about them. Greg, how do people learn about you and connect with you, and why in the world should they do something crazy like that?
Well, guys, what I want you to do is I want you to go to bookmcdaniel.com. I want you to go there right now. Again, it's bookmcdaniel.com. Unfortunately, it's not on your screen like it usually is. But I want you guys to go there. Let's talk about EXP. Let's talk about making more money. Let's talk about building wealth. In our industry, you're only as good as your last deal. And I got really, really sick and tired of that. So Matt and I switched over to EXP, and there's 3 different verticals for income. Your deals, your passive income, and then your stock portfolio that you can grow. If this is something that you guys are interested in about building wealth, not just collecting a paycheck, come over, let's hang out. We'll show you what Matt and I are going to have built for you that's going to better your business, give you more deals, and give you free coaching all to boot. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, give me a call, or you can give me a call too, 925-915-1978, or go to bookmcdaniel.com. Matt, how can they rate the show?
Go to iTunes or Apple Podcasts, just search for Real Estate Uncensored, leave us a thoughtful 5-star review or whatever other kind of review you might want to leave. 5 stars definitely preferred. If there is a particular guest, if you guys enjoyed Justin Zimmerman or any of the guys here or the other guests that we've had on the show, make sure to give them a public shout out in the review so that they know that you are thanking them for their time and their contribution. So we just want to thank the guys again for having us here at the REDEX office in beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah. We appreciate it, and we appreciate everybody that watched us live here on Facebook. If you don't know, if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts or Stitcher or platform like that, we are live 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, usually at 11 a.m. Pacific. 2 o'clock Eastern, so you can catch us here right on Greg McDaniel's Facebook page. You can catch us on Real Estate Uncensored, and we broadcast live in a lead gen scription objections group. We're everywhere, guys, so hang out with us. We've got a bunch of questions that we did not get to by Marcelo and Andres and Chris, and more questions from Chris and Ann and all kinds of stuff. Guys, we'll make an effort to go back into the comments and answer those questions, especially the ones that have to do specifically with REDEX and CRMs and data and all that stuff like that that's super detailed, that is beyond the scope of this episode. So we appreciate everybody keeping up with us. Go leave us a review. Check us out next time. We're right back in our boxes next week where we so belong, Greg. We will be right back in the box on Monday, and we'll see you guys then.
Later, guys.